Hey everyone. Yeah, I thought I'd do another live stream before I get some lunch, but a real quick one. Because this is something I think a lot of us want to talk about, as well as also want to, I just want to discuss these two things real quickly. Because it seems to me that these are just things that I have to talk about real quickly. Now, first of all, let's talk about net neutrality. Now, as we all know here in California, as well as in places like Oregon, Washington, and numerous other states here on the West Coast, Northwest, Midwest, Southwest, just about anywhere. Mostly including the Northeast. Everybody is doing what they can to keep net neutrality around. Heck, even Washington is doing what they can with Congress, Senate, and the House of Representatives. Well, recently, THR, I think they're called the Humanist Report, talked about something that was really kind of surprising. And I think even the Young Turks talked about this, maybe. But the Humanist Report talked about this, on how we've gone past the deadline as to when net neutrality was supposed to go into federal registration. Well, apparently news has come out, thanks to THR and various other sources, that that's not happening. That the reason this deadline has gone past and nothing has really happened is due to the fact that, according to what THR is reporting from numerous sources, is the ISPs, like let's say Verizon over there, and others, are trying their best to come up with a solution that would allow them to get into the ear of a lot of these state senates, if not the overall Senate, and as well as the overall state Congress and overall federal Congress and all that, and try to sway things into their favor. Basically, according to THR and the sources that they are reporting from, ISPs are trying their best to come up with a better idea, a better solution that will allow them to get what they want, and in the long term, make sure something like this doesn't happen ever again. In other words, what they're saying is that the ISPs are trying to buy themselves some time to not only come up with a not just trying to come up with a solution that would, allow them to, kind of convince, or at least in their perspective, try to convince state and federal Congress, state and federal Senate, state and federal House of Representatives to side with them and see the bigger picture as to, why this has to happen, why this has to occur. But to THR, like I said, they're doing this so that they can also buy time to come up with a plan that would allow them in the long run to not only try to, hopefully in their minds, convince the right people, Congress, Senate, House of Representatives, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, to side with them and give them the okay to finally repel and kill net neutrality. But they're trying to come up with a solution that would enable them to make sure something like what's going on now never happens again. Like, it doesn't matter who the next president is, who the next FCC chairman is, it doesn't matter. According to THR, they are trying to come up according from the sources they've read from, they are trying to come up with a solution that would allow them to keep things the way they want. In other words, make sure there's no chance whatsoever that net neutrality would ever make a comeback. To make sure, no matter what happens, no state governments will be able to, keep net neutrality alive. That basically the reason they're biding time is so that, like I said, they're trying to basically, according to THR, come up with a solution that would not only enable the right people that are against this to side with them, but to also come up with a plan long term that would make sure something like this never happens again. Make sure that nobody is able to fight against keeping net neutrality alive and free. Here's the only problem. A lot of states, like what I say, California, are making sure that neutrality remains. Even if, let's say, even if they get the solution they want. Whatever happens in the long run, it's not going to affect states that are already, not reenacting, but are putting into action their own state net neutrality law. Sorry about that. I don't know where I ended there, so I do apologize. But what I'm saying, what I was trying to say earlier before that abrupt interruption, is it seems that no matter what happens, even if these people come up with the solution they want, states like California, Oregon, Washington, and all the other states in a similar situation, they're making sure that even if a solution comes around, they're still going to have net neutralities for their areas, for their regions, for their states. And like I said, that's what, according to THR, a lot of these ISPs are trying to do. They are trying to make sure that something like this never happens again, that another fight to keep net neutrality alive and well never occurs again. They're trying to come up with a solution. They're trying to bide, according to THR, time to figure out a solution that will allow them to come up with a better plan that would not only help repel and kill net neutrality and give the power to people like the Verizon, if you will, but again, like I said, make sure there's no way nobody else, organizations, people, companies can fight against us. And they're doing their best to try to, and that's why, according to THR and the sources they report from, a lot of these ISPs think just yet because they're trying to come up with a better solution that will enable them to try to convince, if not maybe con, the people that are against the repeal of net neutrality to side with them. So, yeah, if you want more information, check out THR, the Humanist Report. Check that out. Just go Net Neutrality here on YouTube, Humanist Report at THR, and you'll get the information you need just from that. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about Windows updates, if not server updates for Windows or Mac or whatever. Now recently, Windows just came out with a new update that was launched today. It was an update that actually launched last month for certain users, and now yesterday was finally uploaded or downloaded by a lot of other Windows users, including myself. And this update didn't seem that big. It didn't seem that massive. It just added a few things here and there, from what I understand. Like you can mute certain things now on your web browser, stuff like that. And I guess just maybe small features and all that's pretty good in the long run. You know, even if it's I mean, I thought it was going to be a massive update, and might still be a massive update when it's all said and done. But as of right now, it was just a small, like, little patch. According to what they said, that's what it was. Just patched things up, added a few things here and there, and that's it. But here's one thing about these updates, whether the Windows, Mac, whatever. I think, honestly, these companies like Microsoft and Mac, honestly, folks, I don't have a problem if they have to do updates, but can they at least do an update where it doesn't screw over your computer or your PC or your laptop, you know, after you're done uploading, the update. I mean, it gives you two options. You can update and shut down, which is turn off your computer. And then when you turn it back on, it just resumes and finishes the update. Or you can update and restart. In other words, it updates and then restarts your computer and finishes it up. And, you know, and those are not bad options. But my thing is, can't they come up with a better solution when it comes to these updates? And, you know, I think, honestly, these updates need updates themselves, if we're going to be quite honest here. These updates need updates themselves. Why? Because it seems that no matter how many times I update my computer, and I know I'm not the only one because I've read this online, it seems to screw it up just a little bit. I'll give you an idea. In fact, recently, last night, I'll tell you what happened. I put the update in. I shut down my computer. I wait a few moments, turn it back on, goes back on, goes a little long, just for a little longer for my taste when it's loading. Then it finishes the update, and it seems that everything's okay. Boots onto the main screen where I have to log into, and everything seems to be okay. It's doing the personalized, doing all, I'm letting it do everything it needs to do. But one thing I noticed is there's a lag. It seems that, and it's not a lag in the internet. No, the internet's fine. But there's a lag when it comes to certain things popping up. It's like, it's not a lag in the internet. It's a lag with the computer itself. Like, it's slow. Oh, just trying to catch up. So what did I do? I turned off my computer. I shut it down. I pressed the power button. No, I didn't press the power button. But what I did is I went and I clicked on the shutdown. I shut my computer down. Waited a few moments. Pressed the power button. Put it back on. And what happens? It ends up loading to the HP screen like it does. And then it just ends up on a black screen. On a blank black screen. The mouse arrow is there and everything. Like, trying to load, you know, the main screen where I have to log in and everything, but nothing. It's taking way too long. So I'm just sitting there being patient, thinking, okay, it's probably just loading. And still it's just a blank screen. So what do? I turn off my computer again, but this time I press the button because I can't click on anything because there's nothing there. And then I wait a few moments, I click it back on, and it starts up the way it's supposed to. Everything is back to normal as of right now. Everything is back to normal. Everything is working fine. So, what happened, you might ask? What happened was the update. The update itself is what happened. And to me, this is something that Windows, Mac, or whoever your server is, whether it's Windows 10, Mac, the latest version of Mac, or whoever, this is something they have to work on. If they're going to provide service with these servers, then they need to make sure that their updates don't screw people. They gotta make sure the updates don't screw people up. they got to make sure of that, because there is a lot of people that have laptops and computers that rely on them to take care of things like pay rent, pay bills, go to school, print out homework from that school. They don't need something like this to happen. So if I'm Windows, if I'm Microsoft, and I'm the people in charge of Mac as well, here's what I do. I look at my update stuff. I look at the updates that I have upcoming. I test them out first before I send them out to people to make sure there's no wonkiness. There's no, how do I put this? No wonkiness, no delays or lagging. Because I'm them and I do this. I test out the updates before I send them out. And then I notice, hey, there's something wrong here. There's kind of wackiness here. There's some kind of lagging here. Here's what I do. I fix that. I fix that before I send it out to my consumers, to the people that have my server. I do that. I fix the update before I send it out. So that way, when people upload that update to the computer, they will not have to worry, mind you, they will not have to worry about the computer lagging the browser, whether it's Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, what have you. They won't have to worry about it lagging, and they have to worry about, okay, I got to restart, I got to shut it down again and start it back up. They won't have to worry about doing that and then probably seeing a blank screen. They won't have to worry about that if things are done right and correct. So if I'm Microsoft and I'm the people in charge of Mac, then I make sure to test out the updates before I send them out, because if I notice that these updates are screwing even my computers up, then I make sure to fix whatever bugs are doing that, whatever kind of bugs are in the update that are causing that to happen. That's what I would do. So that's really all I'm going to say on that. I mean, my computer's working fine now. Like I said, after I shut it down a second time and turned it back on and got the blank screen, I pressed the button, turned it off, and then turned it back on, and everything's fine. So apparently, like I said, if I'm Microsoft, I'm Mac, I'm the people in charge of Mac, and anybody else that has a programming service like Windows, I make sure that if I'm going to send out an update, I test the update first to make sure that it doesn't lag on my computer, it doesn't cause those delay or slowness on my end, because if I notice that, then I make sure to fix it before I send it out. So that's really all I'm going to say on that, folks. I got a couple minutes. I'm going to try to grab myself something quickly to eat for lunch. But I just thought I'd talk about that here live, about what's going on with net neutrality, and just discuss what's going on with updates when it comes to Windows, Mac, and whoever. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all for tuning in live. I really appreciate it. And that's about it. I got to get myself something quick to eat. And I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.